Today we are talking about cross-selling techniques in Phase 3. So I'm Paula Williams.
And I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help you guys sell products and services in the aviation industry.
Exactly. So today we're talking about Phase 3. We put cross-selling techniques in Phase 3, although it could go in Phase 2. But for the most part, we also want to emphasize that with your current customers, you may not be selling them as many products as you should be, or you may be selling them the wrong products. It happens more often than we'd like to think. So it is pretty important to review your current clients and what they're buying and make sure that that's the most appropriate for them. So the purpose or the objectives of cross-selling are to sell more to your existing customers, to increase your transaction size, to have happier customers, to have fewer misfits between your product and your customer, and thereby having fewer customer service hassles, chargebacks, and returns. So some things to consider. Do you have salespeople or do you have order-taking robots? I think almost everybody would say, of course we have salespeople. We don't have any order-taking robots here.
But that's because most people don't realize that there are more order takers in the world than there are salespeople.
Exactly. And it's not really their fault. A lot of people were never really trained as salespeople, or even if they were, they end up thinking, well, the customer knows exactly what they want. All they need to do is tell me what they want, and I will get it to them.
As an example, my daughter went down to buy an Audi. I went with her, walked into the store. Salesman said, okay, Pierre, and said, well, these cars don't need any salespeople. They actually sell themselves. I didn't say it, but I thought, really? Then what are you doing here? Where's the machine that I put the credit card in to get the key out?
Exactly. And, a lot of folks don't like to think of themselves as salespeople, but, we had someone call advertising software the other day and spent a long time with them realizing that he was just an order taker. He didn't have any real way of resolving issues or anything else. And, the questions that I was asking him, he'd kind of keep swinging me back over to, well, order the product and see how it works and, see if it solves your problem. And I'm like, well, that's great, but what can you tell me about this, that, or the other thing? And, he really didn't have any great information for me. So you really need to have people who can think on their feet and be flexible and really think about things from the customer's perspective. Does this really solve the customer's problem, or is there some alteration you can make to the deal to make it better for both parties?
Talk about benefits to the proposed purpose to the customer, and if the customer digs down into features, okay.
Exactly. Right. So in aviation, of course, we're marketing to a specific set of the population, in most cases, mass affluent, high net worth, or ultra high net worth. And in a lot of those cases, we think of the fact that people have these resources, that is an indication that they know what they're doing. And that is not necessarily true. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation. And the higher up this pyramid you go, the less tolerant you are of a one-size-fits-all situation. And this applies to us too. We actually made a purchase just this morning. And, rather than just taking the option as it stood on the website, which was explained really, really well on the website, we really wanted to talk to someone about our own situation, which of course we felt was different. Even though it probably wasn't. We just want to feel special. We want someone to acknowledge, yes, I understand your situation and this product is going to work for you. So that personal connection is more and more important the higher you go up this pyramid. And it is not the case that people know what they're doing just because they have more resources and so on. So the classic cross-selling example is, do you want fries with that? I'm sure you've heard that at a fast food place, and you've probably said, sure, why not? What it does for the organization is it increases the transaction size, so they can have the same number of customers come in the door and improve their volume for the day, or their revenues for the day. What it does in For the customer, though, is actually it improves their customer satisfaction because you're offering them additional products and services. And, would you like a slice of pie? Those kinds of things. They make people feel cared for, even though it is a sales technique. They're not irritated by it as much as they are hopefully positively influenced by it in terms of spending more money. And even if not, they tend to feel better about the organization they're doing business with if they offered more options.
And don't be afraid to offer options. There are many more people that are more timid than you are waiting to be sold to.
Exactly. Now, a way to apply this to the aviation industry is while we're doing that, while your King Air is in the shop with the cowlings off, should we add a preheat system? That's one way to improve the value of what you're offering. It also increases your revenue, but it also is convenient for the aircraft owner. While it's in the shop, you've got the cowlings off, they've paid the shop charge. It'll save them some money over having to bring it back later, and so on. So, it's a benefit to both parties if you make that offer and, they can accept or not. And that's no skin off your nose either way. It works. But, you do want to definitely think about what can you offer at different stages of the purchase to really make that relationship go better. So upselling, the example we used here was someone that is involved with a charter organization and they fly a lot with you and they fly a lot with your competitors. And they're putting a lot of miles on. If you can dig into their situation and find a better way to serve them, for example, maybe they would be happier with a jet card situation or a fractional system, that would save them some money. It would be more revenue for you. You take business away from your competitors and have them do business with you more. You also end up with a happier customer who is spending less money altogether. So that's a win-win situation. So you can look for those, and they happen more often than people would expect. Downselling, you have someone come in, you're a jet broker, and they have their heart set on a G6. You look at their budget, you look at their numbers, and they do have the money for the sticker price of a G6, but they may not have the wherewithal to support that airplane.
And just as importantly, you need to look at their mission, because the mission may not require a G6, and it's up to you to tell them what would at a lesser price.
Exactly. So, downselling may not sound like a fabulous idea from the business perspective, but in the long term, having a happy customer who is satisfied with the advice that you're giving and with the service that you're providing is 1,000 times more important than squeezing an extra nickel out of this particular transaction.
And not only that, but as we all know, people that buy one jet will buy another.
Exactly. So, the average may be 2-3 years, something along those lines that they will be upgrading. And if you have given them good advice and steered them the right way and built your credibility by, providing the best situation you can for them, then you're going to be in a better position when they're in the market next, which is worth a whole lot more over the lifetime value of a customer than a single transaction. So factors to consider when we're talking about cross-selling, upselling, and downselling. What does the customer really want or need, and how do you find that out?
You ask questions.
You ask questions. There's no other way. None of us are mind readers, and we can guess all we want, but we'll be wrong. 9 times out of 10, customers will always surprise us. Think about, what else can I offer, given your current portfolio of products and services. What variations are there that I could use to make this more attractive? And do I have partnerships for good referrals? Sometimes ABCI makes referrals to, all people really need is a good brochure, and everything else in their marketing system is fabulous. So they don't need us. They just need a good printer who can design what they have into a good brochure. And if that's the case, they're better off and we're better off because it saves them money and us time. But yeah, if you have those relationships, you can make those good referrals, and what goes around in the aviation industry tends to come around because it is a small world. So We do a service called our sales check ride, where we call. We do a mystery shopping scenario, and it's not just us. We actually have other people do this. So even if you recognize our voice, that's not necessarily going to happen. So basically, they call and pose as a customer. They go through a checklist and then offer different solutions for different places where there may have been a better alternative for how to resolve that sales call. And what that is really is just a matter of brainstorming and practice. So if you have thought about this ahead of time, if you invest the time to think about what are some of the curveballs that a customer could throw at me, and how am I going to handle that in the best possible way? The other thing is practice. None of us are naturally born salespeople. There is nothing natural about sales. It's something that we can get better at when we practice, and when we work with customers and make sure that we're able to do that. So we practice with each other. You can practice in front of a mirror. You can do a lot of different things. It sounds weird, and nobody does this enough. But we can't emphasize how much of an improvement it makes when you've done some brainstorming and some practice. So, other videos in our Phase 3 series, using surveys to get testimonials, using your CRM in Phase 3, customer appreciation events, and of course our panel discussion on referrals and bounties. So thank you for joining us. Next month we're going to be talking about images, infographics, and video, which is also a very fun topic and very effective. So we look forward to seeing you next time.
That's it, and enjoy your selling.
You know you could.